Thank you for joining us today. My name is Eva Keitel, and I would like to welcome you to the monthly MBI Marketers and Experience Designer community. Today, we will hear from Marcy Ryder. Marcy believes that health powers productivity, and she helps people banish burnout through practical tools and sustainable habits. Marcy is a multi-certified health and productivity expert. She holds the Distinguished Certified Professional Speakers designation and is a multi-author and award-winning global keynote speaker. Please, Marcy, tell us about what we are going to learn today.
Thank you, Eva. I am excited to do this for the MPI community because you are my community. And so I wanted to do this. My normal presentation is called Time Power Ups, Focus Power Ups, or Meeting Power Ups. But this is specific for meeting professionals about conference power ups and your big meetings. And we're going to talk about decreasing distractions, managing your energy, and also being fully committed and present to those meetings that you are running. I want you to think about the next 45 minutes or so like a buffet. Now, most people do not eat every single thing on a buffet. I do not expect you to take every single thing that I talk about and put it into practice. Some people have allergies to what's on the buffet. You may have an allergy to something that I say. It may be that you don't want to do it, feels kind of weird, you don't like it, or you can't because of your role. Not a problem. Just like if you were at a buffet and there was a dish you couldn't eat, you just move to the next one. And then lastly, there may be a dish on that buffet that you make at home, but I have a little bit different spice. So it's something you're already doing, and we're just going to tweak the behavior. And with the buffet, it is up to you to serve yourself. So I can lay all the dishes out there, but it's up to you to take it and do something with it. Now, if you want the go-to guide, you can visit radergoodies.com/MPI. In that go-to guide, I put every app, resource, recommendation, along with extra training for anything that I talk about during this 45 minutes. You do not want to put www. It's just radergoodies.com/MPI. Okay. Lastly, this is my virtual studio. I'm showing you this so that you know that if I look a little bit to the right, I'm actually looking at my screen with your faces. If I'm looking a little bit to the left, I'm just checking to see my slide. If I'm looking directly, what seems like just to you, I'm looking at the camera. If I'm looking a little to the right, that's also where I'm looking at the chat. So I'm curious, as a meeting professional, where are you lacking in guardrails or boundaries when you are at an event? Where are you lacking in boundaries? Time, focus to the task. Time to actually get focused on the task. Yes, that is a big one. I also hear that you allow yourself to be contacted at all hours. I mean, you are the first ones awake and you're the last ones to go to sleep. And you are basically on what feels like 24/7. You're the first to get there, you're the last to leave. You don't have boundaries with connecting with people. Yes, so there you need to connect, you want to connect, but there's also this time that like, okay, I have to also manage my own energy. I like to use the term guardrails because barriers sounds, it's just a little extreme. And guardrails keep us safe. When I am driving along the Blue Ridge Parkway, I want guardrail up there, so that I don't feel like I might drive off the road. So think about putting up guardrails around how you're being connected with, the way you manage your energy, and the way that you can be present. So I'm curious, tell me in the chat, what words, which of these words have you used in the last week? And if you've actually been part of a meeting in the last week, it might be different than a normal, than another week, but have you used any of these words? So I'm seeing overwhelmed. I often hear spread thin, because as meeting professionals, you're always operating with a lean team. Pulled into many directions, absolutely, absolutely. Overextended, yes. All of these translate to busy. And we like, and then I see tired. Yes, that is not on there, but yes, absolutely tired. We wear this badge. We all have name badges at conferences, right? I feel like sometimes we need to also have a badge that just says busy. I'm just busy, because that's how we answer a lot of times. Hey, how's it going? Busy. What's your life been like? Oh, I'm so busy. And in some ways, we like that because it makes us feel valued. It makes us feel like, we're doing something. But busy doesn't really mean anything. I could be busy tying and untying my shoes. And that pulled into many directions that I'm seeing in the chat, when you're context switching and you're all over the place all day, that's where you get to the end of your day and you feel like, I've worked 12 hours and I don't know what I did. You don't feel like you're really accomplishing anything. A lot of what we are doing is advancing our busyness instead of our business. We are our own worst enemies sometimes. And so these guardrails that I'm going to talk to you about putting into place, these are things that can help you decrease that feeling of busyness and feel more accomplished at the end of the day. So I'm curious, tell me in the chat, how would you feel if you were this woman? When you see all of these different flavors, colors, bottles, how does that make you feel? Too much information. Yeah. Overwhelmed, anxious. Yeah. Excited. So the minority of people feel excited and they like to have all these different options. And I've had some person say, well, it's because it's kombucha. If it was something else, then I might not feel that way. Most people, when they have this many choices, it causes them distress. And if you eat at a place like this, then thinking about, there are 250 menu items and over 50 have the word chicken in it. This type of thing can make us resort to what's called decision fatigue. This is a real thing. All of the choices that we are met with throughout the day, the volume and the complexity of our choices and decisions are what lead to decision fatigue. This phenomenon is real, it's science. It can lead to avoiding making a decision, status quo, fear-based. So if we were to see all those bottles, it would either be, I'm going to go with lemon ginger because I always do, or I'm just going to keep on walking because that kombucha step's weird. That many choices can lead to decision avoidance, which is status quo, or fear-based. It can reduce our willpower even. When you have all those items on the buffet, like a real buffet, we are almost always going to eat more. And we have so many choices that sometimes our willpower is just over. It will also make us procrastinate because it's so much work for our brains to make the decision that we'll just hold off on it. When you think about willpower and the volume of decisions you make throughout the day, the complexity of the decisions when you are at a conference, this is why we are more likely to have that extra drink, to go ahead and have that third little sweet tart when the appetizers come around, to reach for the sugary snack, to not exercise or get on the treadmill like we said we were going to in the morning. Our willpower is related to decision fatigue. And as meeting professionals, when you have stuff coming at you all the time, it is no wonder that you have it at the end of the day. As I'm going through, I want you to think about, from a tactical perspective, one thing at the end that you are going to put into action. Really think through, what are my obstacles? How or what can support me? Because it could be an app or a program, and what my reward will be. And I'm going to show this slide again at the end for you to really think through. Our brains have two types of attention, voluntary and involuntary. Voluntary is your ability to pay attention and focus. It's your ability to listen to me. Involuntary is the part of our brain that we can't control. When that part of our brain gets triggered, we can't ignore it. Flashing lights, sirens from an ambulance, babies crying, triggers the involuntary part of our brain. Lightning flashes, lions roaring, babies crying. From an evolutionary perspective, we want these to trigger that part of our brain and give us a, is this a threat or not message? And that's what's happening. Our brain has to quickly make a decision, is this a threat or not? Well, guess what else triggers the involuntary part of your brain? Every ring, ping, buzz, and now haptic on your wrist triggers that part of our brain. When my clients say my phone goes off, I just ignore it. You can't, because it's triggering that part of your brain. And even if you glance at it and you don't do anything with it, your brain is making a choice to respond or not. It's deciding, is this a threat or not? And I know for you all, when you are attending an event, you are getting, email, text, maybe walkie-talkie, people coming up to you. You're getting it from so many different directions. It is no wonder that you have that busy feeling and you are feeling that decision fatigue at the end of the day. And every time you're getting one of those notifications, it is a punch to your attention. It is a punch to your willpower. And it will affect the choices you make and whether or not they are healthy. So when we think about notifications, it's important to know they are not on as the default because it makes us more productive. They are on as the default to get us to use it more. I'm going to say that again because it's important. They're not on as the default because it is more productive. They are on to get us to use it more. So true. I'm seeing in the chat. Yes. So, at home or in your office, I'm sure, you're probably on your laptop more than anything. At an event, it's probably 50-50 on your phone, maybe even more than that, depending on your role. But I know that there are some of you out there, you have your notifications coming on more than one device. Laptop, maybe a tablet, your phone, and your watch. Usually when I ask people like how many devices that notifications are coming through, it's 2, 3, I've had the most 5. Yes, have somebody, LOL, that's me. They're coming in everywhere. Think about what you can turn off, because here's the thing, you're going to go in there anyway, right? You're going to check your inbox anyway. You're going to look at your text anyway. You don't need to have a banner come across and interrupt your focus or thinking. At least not on all the devices. So these little numbers here are badges, because we're going to focus on our phone here. Tell me in the chat if these numbers bother you or if you don't mind. Like, yeah, I see them, 26,000. Yeah, very much so bothers, anxious. I would throw my phone away if this were mine. So yes. So Eva's saying, I hate to get those on the phone, all of those badges. The badges are on there to get you to tap on them. They are red, R-E-D, because red tells our brain it's urgent. And I'm sure there are people, you may admit it or not, that you will click on that badge to get it down to 0, even knowing that you're going to have to go back and look at it later, but you just can't stand to have those badges. Yes, absolutely. You are my people. You are my people. I can't stand it either. Well, guess what? You don't need those badges on your phone. You don't need a badge to tell you, click here, click here, click here. Think about, if we're just reducing decision fatigue, think about what apps you are getting badges for, or banners or notifications that you tend to just swipe away, not do anything with, or that call to you. If you just tend to swipe away, why do you need a badge? You just wasted a decision. You just didn't know you were doing it all this time. If it's making you click on it, even though you're going to go there anyway later, just take the badge off the phone. Take it off. So I only have two badges on my phone. Voicemail, because when people call me, that's something important because hardly anybody calls anymore. And Voxer, because Voxer is how I communicate the fastest with my team. And yes, in the chat saying falling into the trap of it's always been done that way. Yeah, we install a new app and you get the banners, you get the badges, you get the pop-up, it's on the lock screen, it's on everything. And you can go into your settings and choose like no badges or just the lock screen or something. You want to control the information that's coming in for you. Something else that you can do to reduce all of those decisions that you're making is think about scheduling those messages to go out. Your job doesn't end while you're at the conference, right? I mean, you can put an out of office message on, but it doesn't keep people, it's not like you have an out of office on your text or your Slack or your Teams, right? So when other people are emailing you, if you're working on conference A, but you also, you're at conference A, but you have conference B a month from now and people are emailing you about that, yes, you might respond to them, but you could schedule it if it's not urgent. Well, email is never urgent, but you could schedule it for a time, maybe after the conference is over or for the next day or something, because a lot of times we actually don't want the response, right? We don't want that conversation to keep going, right? So think about scheduling out your emails. You can also schedule your text messages. A lot of people don't realize this. There is an app called Scheduled, and you can write a text and schedule it to go out when you want it to. Verizon has a scheduling aspect of their app. You just have to download it. Slack and Microsoft Teams even has where you can schedule when that's going to get sent. Voxer is the little orange icon, and that's something that we use internally. And what we like about it is that I only use it for my team. So, like if you are not part of my team, you're not on my Voxer list. I don't open it up to everybody. And we can use it as a walkie-talkie, or we can record messages, which is much faster than typing. And so you can think about different ways where your communication channels narrow a little bit and you're actually scheduling things in a time frame that's more ideal. I schedule when my, strategically too, like when my contracts go out. I don't want somebody to get my contract at 5:30 p.m. especially on a Friday. I want them to get it when they're most likely to say yes. And it's not at 5:30 p.m. on a Friday. With your team, you also want to be very clear about communication channels and if this, then that. And when I say team, you might be a team of one, but in a conference, you're always working with, AV and maybe even the event staff, like the staff at the hotel or the conference center, the speakers. There's always other people that you're working with. So you could be very clear with, whoever that person is or that team is. If it's this, then email. If it's that, then text me. If it's that, we do this with RadarCo, and text to me is like more urgent than an email. But if my team really wants me to, the faster, they know to use Voxer for me. So think about a communication channel in a decision tree that you can say, if this, then that. And this is an example of a client of mine that this is a very detailed decision tree. You don't need to go this far unless you're a very large organization with a large team. You may want to do something like this. I just came from a very large conference, 6,000-7,000 people, and they have so many people working there. This decision tree would probably work well for them. So this type of decision tree says, when the concern or the issue is X, like a vendor complaint, or it could be a speaker issue, AV complaint, this is who you copy, this is who you send it to. And it could even be like, so say you're the head of this 8-person team, you're the head of the team. You don't need to be copied on everything. You're doing high level. So you have the decision tree on, if it's these things, only these 3 things, do I get involved? This will reduce the communication going to you, and it makes it very clear to your team who to go to for what. So that could be something strategically that you decide before each event. We always train people how we respond and how we react. This is on us. This is on us. All right. So thinking about our distractions, so many distractions that we're getting, multiple channels, considering maybe one thing we can do to increase our willpower. And willpower is always related to energy, right? So how do you, as a meeting professional, manage your energy? Tell me in the chat, how do you manage your energy, if at all, when you are at a conference? Oh, I like that. Positive thoughts. Good. It may be like a mantra that you have to say to yourself. Encouragement from friends. Oh, that's nice. I've never seen that one. That's good. That's good. Keeping the smile on my face. Oh yeah, as a meeting professional, you cannot show, that's the thing. You can't show that you're tired. I can relate as a speaker. Like I might have gotten in late because my plane was delayed and I'm given the 7:30 a.m. keynote. I got to keep that smile on my face too. We have a lot more in common than you think. As the attendees, you can be like, oh, I'm dragging. I was up so late, with the happy hour and blah, blah, blah. But we have to keep our energy up, and we need to have that face on all the time, right? So keeping the smile on my face, I really like that one. Yeah, good. So one thing that always I hear is a struggle, whether it's an attendee, a speaker, or a meeting professional, is the food. And now you know why you may struggle with the food, because of the reduced willpower from decisions. I like the acronym HABIT. Came up with this several years ago. It works well with my clients. thinking about when you are reaching for that sugary snack or that salty thing or that alcohol or caffeine, am I hungry or is this just habit? I can tell, coffee, I don't need it, but I like it. And it's definitely a habit. Does it mean I'm not going to drink it? No. And I'm not hungry for coffee, but I like it. It's my habit. And I'm okay with that. I also have healthy habits too. Okay. But it's still just an awareness. Am I hungry or is this my habit? Am I anxious? Am I reaching for this donut because I'm anxious? Am I bored? Sometimes we're just eating out of boredom, right? If we're tired, I mean, I'm East Coast. If I'm out on the West Coast and, it's the day started for me at like 3 because I'm so used to waking up in the morning. And then, the dinner doesn't start until 7. I might be eating just to kind of, stay attentive. Am I irritated? And am I tired? All of these things can be reasons why we pick up, a cookie or we, grab another soda. I'm not saying that you're not going to do those things, but it does help for an awareness perspective. And it may help you to opt out. So thinking about, why am I reaching for this? Why 90 minutes after I ate lunch am I getting this power bar or this Luna bar, sports bar? Energy management. A lot of people also think of coffee as an energy driver. And there's always an abundance at conferences, right? And from that time zone perspective, it's even more important from the West Coasters when they come east and they have to get up so early for themselves. I always feel bad when there's an East Coast conference that starts at like 7 or 8 in the morning. But people will drink so much more coffee than they normally would at home. But here's the thing. You can drink coffee strategically and it lasts longer for you. It's a great cognitive enhancer. When you wake up in the morning, you wake up either because of your alarm, but because cortisol is being released, the hormone cortisol. And that's a good thing in the morning. It helps wake you up. When you drink coffee, as soon as you wake up, it's actually fighting against the cortisol, and you're not going to get the benefit as much. It's not going to last you as long. If you actually waited just 1 hour, the horror, right? The horror, wait an hour. Oh my gosh. It sounds really hard. But if you can just wait 1 hour, you will get so much more of a benefit. And then also thinking, because I drink more coffee when I travel too. It just because it's there and it's available, but I will alternate between coffee and tea. And I will start with the tea and then I will go to coffee and then I'll alternate till about 1 p.m. So you can even think of, this is just a little nutrition energy hack, timing your coffee. I know it's obvious, like these sweets, of course, they make us, we have the sugar crash and we're tired. But I want, and they're always available, especially in the afternoons when people are dragging, right? But I want you to think about it differently from a hormonal perspective. If this is homeostasis, we change out this view. If this is homeostasis, your hormones will kind of ebb and flow throughout the day. When you eat sugar first thing in the morning, like a donut or a sugary treat, it will spike your blood sugar and then you will crash. And once you've done that crash, your body will crave more sugar so much that then that's what your brain will go for. And you will have more of this kind of cycle rather than this. So think about what you can eat that will give you this rather than this. And highly depleting tasks or highly depleting decisions, very complex decisions, will actually make our brains want sugary foods more. So thinking about, how I can make that ebb and flow a little bit better, but also knowing for many people, cookies, cakes, donuts, those are emotional decisions. They are emotional decisions. And some people can use up so much willpower thinking to themselves, this internal dialogue, I want that cookie. I want that cookie. I shouldn't have that cookie. I want that cookie. I shouldn't have that cookie. I'm going to have another cookie. I'm just going to have half a cookie. Like there's this whole dialogue. They're not even listening to the speaker anymore. They are just thinking about the cookie. So if you are a planner of snacks, also think about, making sure that they're, and definitely meetings are getting better at this. I see a lot more like small bags of nuts and things like a protein and fat. Yes. Serving fruit instead. Absolutely. And like fruit and nuts, perfect. Or like vegetables, vegetables with dips. I went to a conference about a month ago and they had different cut up vegetables and guacamole and ranch dip and something else and nuts and fruit. And it was great. And you would think that people would be like, where's the cookies? So many comments about, oh, I'm so glad that we have healthy snacks. Because also people are just sitting there all day. And so, it starts to feel like, oh, just roll me to my room, right? So think about food also being an emotional decision and having a plan for it. If you plan ahead of time, this could work for you. If I know I'm going to have a cookie in the afternoon, then think about what you have at breakfast and lunch. And kind of balance that out. I'm not going to grab the dessert at lunch because I know I'm going to want that cookie in the afternoon. So, making it more of a balance. I'm going to have 2 sweets today instead of a sweet at every single meal. And really having a plan. If you plan ahead, then you are more likely to make a healthy choice. And I love this. Strategic decisions equal happy participant. That's a great mantra from a meeting professional in the chat. Strategic decisions equal happy participant. I like that. Okay, so let's move on to presents. So this actually became really important to me a few years ago. I was at a concert. It was about 3 hours. It was a big, 4 different bands, or 2.5 hours. And I was sitting next to a mother and daughter. We were in nosebleed section even. And the entire concert, they both recorded it with their phone and never looked up from their phone. Not one time. I don't even know how good of a recording that could be. I doubt that anyone would go back and watch 2.5 hours of a recording. But one thing I would do is encourage people, if they want to, take a photo or take a short video, that's fine. The speaker allows it. But are they really going to go back and watch the entire video? And most of the time, the recordings are available, right? But you want them to be present. And so, maybe having reminders throughout, take a picture, take a couple of pictures, and then put your phone away. Record a 30-second snippet if you want, but know that we're going to provide the video with much better quality. As a speaker who, talks about productivity and focus and attention, let me tell you, it's really hard for me to embrace the phone polling because I don't want people's phones out. As soon as they take out their phone to do a poll, they're also seeing that they got 3 texts and 2 emails and their Amazon order was delivered. But I understand why we do it, because we're wanting to keep people more engaged. But is that really engaged? It's really challenging. I mean, it's so hard. It's the same way with being a virtual presenter and the chat. If somebody's writing into the chat or they're reading chats, they're not listening to the speaker. But at the same time, I want people to write in the chat to make sure that they're engaged and not checking their email. It's a challenge. So think about, reminders for people to, actually be there and present for the speaker or for the announcement. You could have phone-free zones. Now, some people may not want to put their phone somewhere, although I just went to a comedy show and you had to give your phone up and then they gave it to you at the end of the night. But, having a phone-free or device-free zone, just like they have device-free cars or silent cars, some people may like having a space in the expo hall or the exhibit hall or just a room at the conference that is the quiet room or the real connections room where you're not allowed to be on your phone and you have to actually talk to people. And if you have that kind of space, it makes people think of it more and being really connected. Because my gosh, we have not been seeing people face-to-face at conferences for a couple of years now, or just here and there. And we have flown somewhere. We have spent a lot of money. We have taken time away from our work to be at this conference, meeting real people in the flesh, but yet we're communicating with people on our phone. So thinking about that space, but then thinking about you are so on call. What times can you be device free? Another horror, right? A meeting professional, device free. What can, does that happen? Think about some guardrails you can put up. Maybe it's that I will not look at my phone or be available until 6 a.m. because I know y'all get up early. Or when I am exercising, when I'm in the fitness center, I am device free. Or, I'm listening to music or a podcast, but I'm not answering texts or something. Or after 9 p.m. I'm saying kind of extreme examples because I know the hours that y'all work. Or, when I'm at dinner, that, or it could be that, again, decision tree, communication channel, that you decide if you have a team, I'll be on call during the breakfast hour. I'll be on call during the lunch hour. I'll be on call during the dinner hour so that people can actually have a meal and maybe engage with the participants or the hiring company or the speakers or whoever you want to engage with, or just take time for yourself. So think about those guardrails. Also, that reset of your mind is important. So you can use technology to help you reset all your technology, right? I like the app, the 5-Minute Journal. I like the paper version as well. But if you don't want to cart around paper or a little book, expressing your gratitude every day, things that you're going to do to make the day great. And at the end of the day, 3 amazing things that happened. I know Eva, who is sponsoring this, she and I are both fans of Calm. And what's great about Calm and Headspace is the same. Both of them are breathing and meditation apps. They have meditations or breathing exercises, just 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. And when you think, I do not even have 2 minutes, I have so much going on, then you need to do it even more, right? Then you need it even more to just breathe for 2 minutes. And if you have trouble sleeping in the hotel, they have sleep stories. And I cannot listen. I've never listened to an entire sleep. There's a guy called, I think it's the Sleep Whisperer, and I can't listen to a single one of his without falling asleep. But even, using technology to kind of get you in that space and deciding ahead of time when you're going to do it. The conference is also important for you to have a commitment of something of being 100% present. And that, it is allowed to be something even just for yourself. You are giving and on so much during those 2 days, 1 day, 5 days that you're there. What is the one thing? Is it when you have your morning coffee, or when you exercise, or when you do your breathing? What is it that you can commit to 100% presence? So going back to the guardrails analogy, we are not creating barriers. We are creating guardrails around our time, our focus, our attention, our decision-making, our willpower, our energy, and just for, making sure that we have happiness. They're not barriers. This can work. We can create these guardrails. And if you are working with a team, then supporting each other. One comment in the chat said encouragement from my friends, to get to think about the conference, and thinking of the end while in progress, supporting each other and having a powwow before you start, before the meeting starts, and saying, like, this is my commitment. This is what I'm going to work on. Please support me in this. So I want you to write in the chat, and I'm going to show everything that we've talked about in the next slide, but I want you to think about, what are my actions? What is the action I'm going to take? What's the one dish off the buffet that I'm going to put into place at my next meeting? What are the obstacles? And sometimes it might just be my old habits, or, that lack of discipline, but it could also be, I have a very challenging client for my next meeting, whatever that is. Support what or who will support you, and what your reward will be. So we have gone over notifications and badges, delaying delivery of some of your messages, determining communication channels and having a decision tree, thinking about habit. Am I hungry? Is this my habit? Am I anxious? Am I bored? Am I irritated? Am I tired? Timing the coffee, device-free zones for your participants, for yourself, device-free times, or the breathing and the meditation. So in the chat, I see an action: reduce notifications to those that are needed only. And that could be needed during that conference. Someone else says revisit the food, drink desires versus need. Yeah. And of course, we're going to eat things that we just want, but it's that, that 2 p.m. snack when we just finished eating at 1, really thinking about that. Another action: remember that adult beverages don't really, yes, I love that. Yes. So, thinking about creating some guardrails and a plan around your adult beverages. Yeah. So what would some obstacles be that you foresee for reducing notifications, or thinking about your habit with food or adult beverages? Have another action: inform family or friend the need for support during on-site work. Yes, good. I like that. Any obstacles that you foresee with any of those? So one obstacle is that everyone else is drinking. Well, I do not drink, and but I like to have, like, I'll put like a lime in my drink, or I still like to drink out of wine glasses. So sometimes I will just have them put like sparkling water or something in a wine glass. Then nobody asks me, which I don't care. But for other people, they feel like they don't want to have to explain. Obstacle: disconnection increases anxiety. So it may be that you're not used to it. You're not used to shutting things down. And so you have an anxious feeling about it. Yeah. So just think, what is the worst thing that could happen? Go over that plan in your head. And sometimes just thinking about that can be helpful. What would a support be? What would a support be for any of those actions? What would a support be? So the informing family or friend the need for support during on-site work. So part of the support could be, and again, it could even be an app. You could like for the notifications, you could download something like Moment, and where it doesn't even let you go to those apps during certain times. Like it could be from, and this is in the go-to guide, Moment, from like 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. It will not let me go to my email or something. That could be a support. I really like, because the action in one person said in the chat, inform family or friend the need for support during on-site work. That's an action, the information, but it's also the support. And that's where like that powwow could come into play, where you say, I need to exercise and I will exercise every morning at 5:30 or 6 a.m. So I need your support that between 6 and 7, you don't text me, or something like that. Support, quiet your phone during sleeping time so not to be disturbed. Yes. So it could be that you totally shut your phone off, or you turn it to do not disturb or sleep mode. Yeah. So even technology can be our support. And then the last question, what would your reward be? Oh, I like this support. And this is more like a plan, actually. Keep gum in pocket when you want to chew something. I'm glad you wrote that, because as a speaker, I love Ricolas. If you want to give a speaker something as a little treat, give them a bag of Ricolas, because they're the lozenges that they don't taste medicinal. And a lot of vocal coaches and speakers, that's what they use as Ricola. So just so you know. Oh, so I have a reward already, a spa scheduled after the event. Oh my gosh, if anybody needs a spa visit, it is the meeting professionals. Yeah, speakers, I admit, the travel might be tough, but we go in, we do our thing, and we are not running around for 4 or 5 days. I love that. Sitting by the pool before leaving the hotel. I like that reward a lot, because how many of you feel like I was in this gorgeous resort and I never saw it? I never got to enjoy myself one time. Yes. Reward, sitting for coffee with a colleague and not talking about work. I like that too. That's a good one. Yeah. And that could be something that you schedule for like the wrap up at the end, or even during the day or something. But then you have it to look forward to. Oh, these are great. These are great. So just to, kind of wrap things up, every app resource recommendation and extra training, you can go to radergoodies.com/MPI. It's going to seem weird, but you actually do not put www in. You just type radergoodies.com/MPI. And I am LinkedIn only. I'm not on any other social channels, but I am active on LinkedIn. I would love for you to connect with me there. If you want more, you can feel free to email me at marcy@helloraderco.com. And I just want to thank Eva and MPI for inviting me to do this presentation, because I get so much from you all. Quite frankly, speakers are catered to. We absolutely are. And you're the workhorses, you're the designers, you are, you're the wizard behind the screen. And so this is my way to thank you for everything that you have done for me. And with that, I will hand it back over to Eva to wrap us up.
Thank you so much, Marcy. This was incredibly insightful and such useful information for us to have, both while we're on site working on a conference, or when we are at a conference experiencing the education that we know we need to refresh ourselves and prepare ourselves for future work that we're doing. So thank you for taking the time today. Really appreciate it. Thank you all for joining in and participating. Stay tuned for future MPI educational sessions, and I look forward to talking to everybody again. Remember that reach out to Marcy if you would like to learn more about what she does and how she can help your organization with additional work. Thank you so much and have a great day.